Oh, what's the meme? Oh, like, makes no damn sense, but it compels me, though. You know when he says that? Love that.
Oh my god. I need him as my gay husband. I want to have a lavender marriage with Benoit Blanc.
You want to be Hugh Grant?
Yes.
But you're going to have to do the Wonka movie to get out of your debts.
Nah, I'm okay with that. If I get to be his husband, I'm all right with that.
I think that's fair. I would do Wonka.
Yeah, for him. Yeah, absolutely.
For him and Rachel Weisz. Can I get in there? No way.
Yeah, honestly.
I don't pass the screener to even get on the list for them. Their sex parties go crazy, so I've heard. Anyways, what is it? Alleged. I say
allegedly.
I say too many things with my chest on here.
Yeah, really. We're just like, the things that certainly happen all the time.
Here, where would that be? Oh, it's our podcast. It's The Swamp. It's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And guess what? This doesn't happen often. Two things. A guest and a qualified guest. What?
You would never believe it.
A guest we've had before, but it's been like a really long time. So even if you're
like
an avid Swamp listener, like it may be lost in the weeds. So my wonderful cousin Erin, her mother and my mother are twins, which makes me feel like we're somewhere, but like closer genetically, like genetically closer than cousins, but further than sisters. But I
they're
do
not
think
identical twins, though.
No, but you know they look the same. They're still twins. Yeah. Anyways,
welcome back, Erin.
Yeah, Erin. Woo.
I'm sober this time.
Hell yeah. Us too.
Yeah. There's been some growth in the last 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
We act a little more qualified and professional.
Honestly, I think sometimes I worry, especially about like the political slander. Again, unuse of alleged, of me just saying shit. I'm like, if the current admin or anyone related wants to do a topical keyword search for like people who've said some shit, I'm like, damn, if I go back to what I said 3 years ago, drunk about Pulp Fiction,
right.
Who's to fucking say? Like, yeah, we might be on the list.
Yes, I'm sure. I wouldn't be shocked.
And not the Daniel Craig sex list.
Yeah, in this day and age,
the hit list.
Yeah.
But that's why we brought a lawyer on today.
Yeah, baby!
I don't want to say that you're the Swamp's official lawyer because I don't want to give you that cred, you know, in case something actually does happen.
You need to deny.
But you are the only lawyer that we know.
It's not the Better Call Saul, they give you $1 and you're legally representing them thing. Yeah, I'm a lawyer. Yeah. I'm not your lawyer.
Right. Well, because we're not trying to immigrate anywhere yet, but but you are an immigration lawyer, which is incredibly topical for this film in particular. Sure. And I feel like we criminally underutilized you last time because we talked about a Cinderella story, which didn't really have too many legal questions, but this movie, you specifically pointed out, has some things in it that make you, as a lawyer, angry because it's wrong, and I would be none the wiser. So I'm excited to hear your take on this, but also this is just such a fun movie, and I'm shocked we haven't covered it yet.
Yeah, truly.
It or the sequel, so we're going to be talking about the 2019 movie Knives Out, directed by Ryan Johnson. I thought it was a Netflix original, but then I did some digging, and it turns out that this first one, because I remembered seeing it in the theaters, and I was like, did they do like a theatrical release even though it was a Netflix movie? But I was like, it was 2019. I feel like they didn't really do that then. Like that feels like a newer thing. I don't know. But so it turns out it was not Netflix, and Netflix only acquired it afterwards, and that they did the sequel, and that they're going to do the third one, which is coming.
Interesting.
I think they've just filmed it, so I wouldn't say it's coming out soon.
When did the second one?
I want to say 2021 because it was very much about the pandemic.
Exactly. So I was wondering also, like, that makes a lot of sense as to why it would have gone to Netflix, because they wanted it straight to streaming, obviously.
Topical.
Yeah.
But then the third one that's going to come out soon
is also straight to.
Will it be straight to streaming? I'd like to go see it in the theaters. But
of course.
We'll see what they do with it.
Who knows?
But Erin, can you tell us about your job, if you would like to do so, and what your relationship with this movie is, why you picked it, what about it interests you? What about you hate?
I don't think I hate anything about it, actually. Yeah, so I do employment-based immigration. I mostly work with college students and grad students who are switching from their student visas to a work visa, then to a green card, and then maybe to citizenship if they want our help with it. And my boss actually told me to go see this movie when it came out in 2019. Before I was a lawyer, I was working in immigration at an immigration firm. And she came in one day and said, "Hey, there's immigration in this movie. We should all go see it." Mm-hmm. And I think I saw it with my mom and with Dara, our grandparents, Nana and Beepa.
Yep.
And when Daniel Craig started talking, I just remember me and Mom just looked at each other like, what on earth is he doing? It's great, but what is it?
Makes no damn sense, but compels me, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how I feel about his accent choice in this.
I'm like, and to me, he just came on set and this was what he decided to do.
Not in the script at all.
Not in the script. I'm hoping that just for my sake, this was Daniel Craig's creative decision.
Mm-hmm. There was like
also true.
There was like a stage direction or something in the script that said something like a light Southern accent, and he just kind of, went ham after.
Daniel Craig does nothing lightly.
No. We've all seen the ball torture in James Bond.
Well, we've tried to. We tried to put it on our TikTok once, and we got taken down.
That was the first thing that blew up on our TikTok.
And then we got shadow banned forever.
Yeah, literally.
And then we've been banned since. Sorry, I guess I'm not allowed to talk about cock and ball torture in a public forum.
God. They're taking away all our liberties.
Knives Out, if you haven't seen it, is sort of like a whodunit murder mystery.
Real Cluish.
Yeah. But then
Agatha Christie.
Right, yeah. The only Agatha Christie I ever read was Murder on the Orient Express, and I read it because my mom was really excited to see the movie that was coming out. Then we saw the movie, and it sucked.
Yep.
And I was like, I read this whole book, I guess.
For why?
For this, it was just like not a good movie. I just remember Daisy Ridley was in it. Oh, she really wanted to see it because what's his name from Hamilton? The guy who plays Erin. Leslie Odom Jr. was in the Murder on the Orient Express movie, and we were very much still in our Hamilton era. That's actually coming all back to me now.
He's also in the sequel to this movie, but he's not in this one. Even though Hamilton gets name dropped a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, he is.
I forgot he was in the sequel.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Because I just think so much about Janelle Monáe, spoiler, playing a twin of herself.
Oh, thank God.
Which is my favorite thing a movie ever does, is making an actor play a twin of themselves.
Obviously. One of your best lists. Mm-hmm. Wait, does Mickey 17 qualify?
Clones, twins, I would add it.
You'll add it?
I would say. But yeah, sort of a whodunit murder mystery where we sort of get introduced to this really wealthy Massachusetts family.
Where do we? Okay, I want to play a game of what city do we think this man lives in?
Yeah,
what town? Where are we talking?
The wealthiest people because they.
I'm guessing Western Mass for sure.
You think Western? I think like a Boston suburb. You don't think?
I just Googled it, so I cheated a little.
Oh, fair enough. I'm gonna say I think like maybe honestly North Adamsy. I think he likes his space, and I think they drove out because it was like I think Jamie Lee Curtis and her husband like drove out from Boston, and it was like a whole thing.
Sure, I think they filmed this in Chris Evans' backyard. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, where is it, Erin?
Filmed in South Hamilton, including Asbury Street, used as locations, and also scenes in Natick, including a drive-through Natick Center.
Natick,
yeah.
Hold on, South Hamilton, you said? Wait, sorry, South where?
Yeah, South Hamilton.
Okay, because here's my thing, is there was a line in the movie where one of the girls, or what's her name?
Hannah Baker.
Yes, Hannah Baker goes and she said, "Well, I'm leaving the party early to go hang out with my Smith friends."
Yeah, some friends at Smith.
I have to assume we're talking Western Mass here.
But also, you can drive across the entire length of Massachusetts
in under like 2
in
hours.
A day for sure. Like
three hours maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you live at one end and you have a friend at the complete other, you can get to them in a day.
True.
Even that's not an ish.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until the fucking Stadies pulled up that I was like, we're in Mass? What the fuck? I had a fight or flight response seeing those fucking blue cars.
Yep.
And then I was watching this with Henry, and he fun facted the shit out of me and told me that the Massachusetts State Police uniforms were what were originally used as reference images for the Nazi uniforms.
Shut up.
The Nazis looked at the Massachusetts State Police and said, they look tight. Let's go with that. So not relevant in this film, but I thought that was a fun little factoid that I would pass along. So that's why when I'm getting pulled over, I'm like, I don't support fascism, and I keep driving, you know?
Exactly. I'm a wanted woman.
But even though Chris Evans was here, did you say, is Jamie Lee Curtis from Massachusetts? Why did you say that she drove across the state?
No, in the movie, it's like her and her husband live over in Boston.
Don Johnson.
Yes.
Dakota Johnson's father.
Oh, I didn't know.
Dakota Johnson's Nepo dad.
Oh, that's him?
You don't know who Don Johnson is?
No, I don't. Yeah. Why the fuck would I?
Melanie Griffith's ex-husband.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Is that really what he's the most famous for, is for being her ex-husband? I would love that.
That's what I know him for.
It's true.
Probably.
And I know him as Dakota Johnson's famous dad, so I guess.
True.
I also didn't clock that. I didn't know who he was until I read. Oh, because the theme of this month, I forgot to say, is we're going to do, sorry about last week. Emily had strep. I wasn't going to make you guys listen to her scratch. So we're doing, though, for the remainder of the month, we're going to do, what is it called? Ensemble casts.
Yes, ma'am.
So anything so vague, but, you know, I would say this qualifies as like an S tier ensemble cast film.
100%.
And I love the second one I love it sort of anthology, like it's of the same. We get
same universe,
the Daniel Craig through line, but then we get a whole new set of wild characters.
Yeah,
and I'm so excited for the third one.
Who is in the third one?
Josh O'Connor,
yeah, of course.
Kaylee Spaney or whatever. She's popping up.
Yeah, here. Kaylee Spaney, Daniel Craig, Andrew Scott.
Yes,
I forgot about that. Jeremy Renner.
Boo.
Thomas Holden Church, Mila Kunis,
Boo.
Josh Brolin.
Sure.
Glenn Close.
Hell yeah, we're gonna get her that Oscar.
Daryl McCormick, Kerry Washington, Josh O'Connor. Josh O'Connor and Adam Scott in a movie together is going to do crazy things for me. Crazy.
Oh, and isn't Josh O'Connor playing a priest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So we'll see.
And we'll see if it's in theaters. I hope it is.
Yeah, one can only hope.
Yeah.
I love to go out to the theater, get my little popcorn, spend way too much money.
Especially with the new theater, the old new theater in town.
Support the arts. Yeah, a movie theater in my town just opened, so I'm about to be cranking every film. It's been open for a week. I've been like 3 times. I'm like, Paddington in Peru on a Tuesday? Yes! Hell yeah.
I'm there.
And there's a Five Below directly next door, so I can get the candy for $1.50 instead of for $6. So, and I can get a Calico Critter while I'm there. Come on.
Oh,
that's my favorite. A little trinket to cure the depression.
Exactly. Anything to get me through the day.
A trinket, a bunch of crunch, and a movie. And Paddington. But who had done it? Well, we're going to find out. Because Benoit Blanc is here to solve the mystery. Ugh. And he kind of shows up, and the police are already there. Lakeith Stanfield.
Hot.
I'm barking. Hot, though.
Yeah.
In this, like,
in this one.
The incredible set design of all these knives pointing inwards. And this, and it's like this crazy house with all these cool antique things. And then we sort of get to dive into what had happened, which is that Harlan Thrombey, played by Christopher Plummer. He lives in this house, and he is a really successful author, and that he built this sort of dynasty that then he, had enough money to then help his children all start their own ventures, and they have a lot of money, but they're all kind of like greedy, assholey. And who are technically his kids? It's Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon.
And that's it. Yeah.
Oh, and then
it's the what's her name? Toni Collette is
daughter-in-law.
The daughter-in-law. And then that's it. Yeah.
And then Don Johnson is married to Jamie Lee Curtis, even though he's cheating on her.
And another blonde lady is married to Michael Shannon.
Yep. Garfunkel and Oates is married to Michael Shannon.
Yes. And that's it.
And then how is Chris Evans tied into all this? Whose kid is he?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? It seems more complicated than that.
Right? You would think, but no, it's not. It's nothing too crazy.
But then
I feel like there's more kids. Hold on a sec.
No, that's it. I mean, there's just grandkids. There's the what's her name, the daughter of the dead son.
There's well, yes, 13 Reasons
that's
Why.
It. Yeah, and then the Nazi child.
The Nazi child is this kid of Michael Shannon. Okay,
and that's the whole
and that's the whole family.
Which is Obviously Marta.
And then we have Marta, who is Harlan's like personal nurse. They say that she's like not from a hospital, that she like is a privately contracted like home aide.
Sure.
Which is a thing, I'm sure, but just seemed like a weird like way to write around the plot that she can't be traced back to like an organization or anything, like for her nurse. Like she just has morphine that she carries around that she could fuck up, but it's not like she's not gonna get fired from the hospital. But
she's got a certificate.
She must work for like an agency or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's you gotta get your drugs from somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. You can't just over-the-counter morphine to just give to my pal.
One for me, please.
But don't
mix them
up. Yeah, right. And another for my friend.
Yeah.
But so we get this sort of terrible nepo, rich, wealthy white family, and then we sort of get to backtrack, and we find out that Christopher Plummer had died because Marta thought that she switched up his medication and accidentally gave him morphine when she was supposed to give him something else. And she's like, oh my God, you're going to die. And then she can't find the antidote. And she's like, you're going to die. And he's like, I want to protect you. So I'm going to knife myself so that you don't get blamed for this because she has family who are undocumented, who she lives with. Yeah. That's sort of the also crux of the film.
These two are, it is like quickly disclosed that these two are like best friends, essentially. Like she really dives into it pretty quickly, being like, okay, well, he needed a nurse, but also like he needed a friend. So like I was here doing my job, hanging out, playing what's the game they play? Playing Go. All right. You know.
Do we know anything about Go?
No, I have no idea, Erin.
Nope, no idea.
I'm intrigued. Fun. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Yeah. I love because her line like, of "you're trying to win, but I'm trying to
create a beautiful board." Yes,
I was like, oh, if that's part of the game, I want to learn the rules.
Right? Maybe we should start playing Go.
Let's learn Go.
But yeah, so he's like, obviously, he's trying to protect his friend who he's like, well, you just killed me, so not really great. But yeah, her family as well,
and then. We then learned that he left her everything, the will.
Yes.
So when Frank Oz reads the will, the whole family is like, what the fuck? You scammed us. And
you were fucking my grandfather.
And I
love that line.
Up until that point, they had been like, oh, don't you worry. We're gonna
take care of you.
You're our family. You're like family to us. And then, of course, once it then gets flipped, they're like, gonna report her and her family, and they're gonna, you know.
Which, like, as the movie goes on, obviously, like, you're clued in pretty subtly about their blatant racism and, like, you know, the obvious, like, greed and nepotism and just fucking disgusting people.
I wrote down every country that they say she's from.
I was just about to say that's one of my favorite details.
List them.
So Ecuador, Paraguay, Uruguay, Brazil. The actress is Cuban. I didn't look up where the performers who played her family are, but like not even close.
Sure.
And the funny thing is do we ever actually get a line that confirms where she's from? No, I think it's only like them saying wrong things, which I would presume that they are all wrong, which is so funny. And there's this one scene in particular where the family is having this discussion. This is before the will information gets dropped, so they're still kind of on Marta's good graces or whatever. And they're having this quote unquote like political. I say that because they're all like white, rich, privileged people thinking that this is like a fun thing to argue about when it like doesn't impact them at all, really. But they're all talking about immigration and like what they think about it. And Toni Collette is like, oh, I'm so woke. I think, everyone belongs here. And Don Johnson's a little more racist and is like, well, they can't just come here. And they're having this.
They have to do it the right way.
Yeah. And then they have this discussion, though, where then he brings her in and sort of does this literal, like, she's the model minority. She did it the right way. Blah, blah, blah.
Obviously, without knowing.
We then learn, in fact, that is like not necessarily the case. We don't ever learn her documentation status, do we? Like, but we know.
I think it's that her mom is. I'm from the sound of it. It sounds like she was born here and it was her mother that was really at risk.
But yeah, just this really blatant scene where they're like, we're going to bring in and say what we think about immigration before we move any further.
Which obviously very quickly we also get a scene where Michael Shannon comes up post will reading and tries to intimidate her, being like, well, we know your mom's undocumented, you piece of shit, give us our money.
And I think the only thing that Hannah Baker's character ever really like brings to the film is that she sort of is posed as this like younger, more liberal part of the family, and that she's kind of someone Marta can confide in and trust because she's like, oh, I get it. But then she's the one who does tell the whole family her situation. So it's like, of course, that like performative allyship that it's like until it stops benefiting you, then you stop supporting them, which is, of course, the perfect example of like how most shitty rich white people are.
But speaking of shitty, I want to ask, what did you feel like they got very wrong and what bothered you about this movie, Erin?
Well, it's not what they got wrong. It's just that I had a lot of questions, and obviously they weren't going to go into detail in the movie, but like her mom is undocumented. But the line that I wrote down that Harlan says is that your mom is still undocumented. So I was like, okay, are they working on maybe correcting her status in some way? Like, and also, what do you mean by undocumented? Did she come here on a visa and overstay? Was she married to a U.S. citizen who abandoned her? You know, is she seeking asylum? Is she a refugee? Like, what? Undocumented gets thrown around as such an umbrella term. And I'd really like to know, like, when people say undocumented, what are they actually talking about? Because often they don't know.
Yeah, so this is a bigger issue at hand that you feel like this movie just kind of played into.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the movie was necessarily inaccurate. I do think it was intentionally vague because this is a whodunit. This is not an expose on the immigration system in America. But I was like, okay, so she's undocumented. How is she undocumented? Did she enter without inspection? Did she overstay a visa? Like, what's the situation there?
No, I was going to say, well, maybe if Marta just talked to you, like, we could get this all sorted out.
I was going to say, because I was going to say, you're not hypothetically allowed to say what you would give her advice-wise, correct?
Because we don't know. Yeah, again, because we don't know the specifics. Yeah.
Because that depends on, like, a laundry list of different things.
Which even just, like, one line of dialogue change just to, like, increase the severity, right? Because if they really wanted it to be this dire situation where it's like, if anyone found out, it's going to be like ice at your door tomorrow situation, which is kind of what the pressure was insinuating. Like, if anyone found out, it was going to be a really big problem. Even just, once being a little more specific just to clue us all in. Just so that we don't all end up using undocumented as this term that could mean a ton of different things. Especially today, you know, with topical, a lot of people, which I'm sure are using it incorrectly to talk about shit that they don't fucking know about.
Which is how they want us to act about it, of course.
Right.
The more we could dumb it down, the better.
Because if you do talk to everyone and you learn their situation, I'm sure you'd be far more understanding. Duh. It's like,
oh, wow, who would have thunk?
Right.
Just the blanket term undocumented is one thing, but when you're talking to somebody who is, you know, your neighbor, you know, the person who works at the grocery store that you see every day, you know, somebody who drops off their kids with you at the school pickup line, it changes the circumstances. And like, we know Marta, we come to like Marta, presumably over the course of the movie. But just a lot of questions, but that is a real thing that people use to take advantage of people. If you are undocumented, especially if you don't, you know, have a lot of knowledge about the system you're in, they can definitely, you know, employers, you know, people in your life, even people posing as like not immigration attorneys, but people who say, hey, we can help you if you give us all this paperwork and pay us all this money.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. But especially because Marta is in this exact situation where technically this is her employer because she does work for this family. So it is her employer. And she doesn't have to do what they say, but they certainly have a fair amount of like sway over her or power or, you know, authority or whatever. So all these people using that language again and then coming in and being like, oh, but you did it the right way. Oh, we love that you did it the right way. As if that would change if they knew something else about her. And she's still the same person who was there every day helping your dad, like playing go with him when you weren't.
Like, where were you? You weren't giving your dad his medication and doing who knows what.
Yeah. Which all of this also, to say, this also goes into the whole issue of, like, people not taking care of elderly people these days.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot we can talk about today.
Mm-hmm. How each of his kids is, like, so, you know, there's all these great flashback scenes of them at this birthday, and they all feel so, I was so close to my dad. Jamie Lee Curtis is talking about, we had a secret language, him and I, we were so close. But it's like, you clearly didn't even know what was going on if you're so detached from the situation.
Yeah. But I also like circled, like, they all describe themselves as like self-made people, especially the Jamie Lee Curtis character.
Who's working in real estate. I'm sorry, anyone who's a real estate mogul is probably not self-made.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Show me a fully self-made real estate mogul who is very successful. Unlikely.
Well, yeah, I think they said there's definitely a line in there too that was like, oh yeah, her start, what was it?
$1 million loan.
Yeah, the $1 million loan.
Yeah, sounding a little familiar.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, we basically get this whole shitty family. They find out that Marta's going to get the money, and they're like, oh my God. And then it spirals into this whole, they're going to try to, you know, not pin the crime on her, but we're trying to figure out how he died. And Benoit Blanc is there. And then we get this whole unfolding. So the movie kind of starts as like a whodunit, but then we learn, presumably, who did it. So it's not really a whodunit anymore. It's more like us trying to hopefully see how Ana de Armas is going to get away with it, sort of thing. Like, even though Benoit Blanc, supposedly the world's best detective, is right next to her the whole time, it's like, how are we gonna, because we want to see her win, obviously. She
does a pretty good job.
She's our protagonist. But then it then becomes, will she get away with it? And then as we enter Act 3, we learn again, no, it really is a whodunit.
There's a donut hole in the donut's hole.
There's infinite holes. This movie's got holes on holes, because then we reverse back to, it turns out that she thought she had mistakenly killed him, but that was not the case, because someone had actually switched the medications in the beginning, so she never gave him the wrong one to begin with. So we're undoing what we had learned.
Which I was flipping out about when I watched it last week, because if Harlan had just waited 5 minutes...
So impatient.
Right?
Like, he would have noticed that, this is not what morphine feels like.
Right, exactly.
What a drama queen.
He's like, and I have to kill myself now. Thank you.
Not only do I have to kill myself, I have to slit my throat.
Yeah, so violently.
Which is like, if you're gonna stage a suicide, what is that? Like,
this fucking diva, dude.
Honestly, me too. If my family was all that shitty too, and I was that old, and I had a trick up my sleeve like that, I was going to leave it all to my fire nurse instead of them. I'd be like, honestly, let's get this ball rolling. Yeah. Let's get this party started.
Watching from the grave.
So I have a theory about that, because I noticed, he has these conversations with each of his kids about how he's going to cut them off. Do you think he was trying to get murdered? Like, like he's cutting off of his kids one after the other at his birthday party.
Yeah, because the whole thing is about how much he loves games and how he loves to be sort of the puppet master, and that he always wants to turn everything into this game. And the whole point is that Marta doesn't really play the game the way the family expects her to. Like, they're all, trying to solve this mystery, and she's just trying to survive.
Like, I feel like he would have counted on, like, one of the sons, the son-in-law, Chris Evans, like, somebody's got to murder him after being cut off.
Yeah, like, he knows he's putting himself in a precarious situation. That's for sure.
Now that you say that, I'm definitely like, he was asking for it. Because he was like a mystery writer or like a thriller writer or something. Yeah,
he wrote murder mysteries. Right,
so, I think totally the implication was that he was like, let's Agatha Christie this bitch.
He didn't seem all that surprised once he started, like, getting the more, like, realizing the situation,
He's like, wait. This is great.
He's like, this would be convenient. A great plot. Let me write this down. However, in my opinion, I don't love that plot explanation of she was such a good nurse that she subconsciously just
knew the weight difference.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. I think that we could have maybe come up with something a little more interesting. I don't know.
I'm not a nurse, though. Maybe you do kind of know.
Yeah, who's to say?
But then again,
also, if she were a good nurse, though, wouldn't she have read the label?
Exactly, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're checking. We're being very vigilant and aware.
Especially when that's morphine in your bag.
Yeah, for real.
A thing that's stored in the same size container as morphine.
Yeah. If I had my Lexapro and my Xanax, or is hypothetically, I don't have Xanax, but if I had my Lexapro and a Xanax prescription,
the way my ears just perked up, I was like, what you've been holding out? Just kidding.
But if I had both of those and they both looked the same,
right? Yeah,
and they were both into the same fucking containers,
I'd fuck it up on the daily.
No, I would look at it every fucking day. Of course. If something was gonna put me out, like, yeah, no,
I guess so. But then we essentially learn that it was Chris Evans' character. That he was the one who had been told, like, hey, I'm going to cut you out of the will. And he already supposedly had spent all of his money anyway. So he was, like, pissed that he wasn't going to get anything. So then he was the one who switched the medicine. And we get the scene, he climbs down and the old grandma's like, Ransom, is that you again? And that's the whole
little
tidbit.
Soon.
Yeah, tidbit about implying that maybe it had been him. Also, the dogs didn't like him and we heard the dogs barking. So you get these like little glimmers of that it was him. He's also the one who burns down the like records facility. So that the tox report never gets released or something like that.
But of course he like flips it and like takes Marta like under his wing and everything and plays the good hero boy.
And then it turns out, so the Judy gemstone of it all is that their housekeeper also was sort of playing a role in all of this, that she had the backup of the tox report and she was going to try to blackmail Chris Evans. And so then he leaves her for dead in like a warehouse. But then Marta finds her and gets her to a hospital. And then the whole thing of this movie is that she can't lie, that she's going to spew vomit.
Yeah, that was also a bit much.
Again, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. That maybe just say she's like a really bad liar or that she, but I guess it's it's drama, it's camp, whatever. So she's like, so we see it in the very beginning. She tries to lie and she pukes. And so then we know she can't lie. And then at the very end, she's like, says that, I forget the housekeeper's name. I'm just going to call her Judy Gemstone. That Judy Gemstone is alive and can testify. And then that basically confirms that Chris Evans had done it. And he's like, oh, fuck. And they basically are like, that's a confession. And then he goes, he's like to stab her and she fucking throws up some of the nastiest, chunkiest fake vomit on film. I'm like, girl, what did you eat today?
How does this stack up, this vomit scene versus the vomit scene in Pitch Perfect?
Honestly, incomparable, because I feel like the comedy of the Pitch Perfect vomit is gross, but then quickly turns so funny that it's blasting out of her mouth at such a speed that there's no way that shit is real. Whereas this vomit was like grossly real looking.
Ryan Johnson put all his Star Wars money into that scene.
All to the vomit prop. Vomit prop. I didn't realize. So basically that's the end of the movie. Though, it's basically we get Chris Evans is going to go away to the jailhouse. I was going to say, what's the jail in Plymouth? It's like he'll probably go to the Plymouth penitentiary that I toured when I was in 7th grade. And then Marta gets the house and
all the money
and she gets this great scene where she stands on the balcony and with her little mug that says, was it like my house, my rules, my coffee or some shit like that.
Yeah, with all the family standing down.
Hilarious.
And, looking up at her.
And she really gets hers. And we all learned a lesson about bigotry, bias, and what it means to be a good friend. So, also, we previously mentioned Erin's a lawyer, but she's not our lawyer, and she's not your lawyer either. So, she can't give us legal counsel, even though I ask if we can put copyrighted stuff in here, like songs during Chocolate or Vanilla, which I would love to do. And I'm pretty sure you told me, like, it's vague. Like, if they wanted to sue you, they could, but also I can't tell you what to do. And I'm like, damn.
I'm pretty sure what I said was, I don't know.
I think you said it depends, which is usually the answer to most legal stuff.
Yeah.
But having a lawyer here, although I will not press you, obviously to give specific counsel, of course, because everything is different. It would I would be remiss if I did not bring up that, undocumented people in America have it like incredibly scary situation right now with the current administration being fucking dick bags and assholes. And people need to help those in their communities and, help out your friends and your neighbors. And so if, Erin, do you have any like advice for people if ICE comes to their work or like what they can do? Just any good info for people to know right now?
Yeah, I mean, my advice that I'm giving people in general right now is to have a plan ahead of time, for sure. So definitely look into your local Know Your Rights style trainings put on by organizations like the ACLU. I love the National Lawyers Guild. Here in Massachusetts, we have an organization called MIRA that has excellent Know Your Rights style, resources and trainings. But just keep in mind your Fourth Amendment rights, your Fifth Amendment rights, the Miranda warnings. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. And just educate yourself. Take a bystander training, bystander intervention training as well. Being prepared ahead of time will save you the panic in the moment if it does ever come up. And, keep your immigrant friends in mind right now, because it is stressful, not just undocumented immigrants, but legal immigrants who are facing a lot of uncertainty and inconsistency with this administration. Yeah. That's what I'm dealing with right now. It's a logistical mess some of the time, a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have any advice or any suggestions for people who are trying to either like lend a hand or be helpful to people who are having a tough time immigration wise right now?
Yeah. Well, I would reach out to those nonprofit organizations nearby to see if they do need volunteers for things like work application clinics or things along those lines. I know last November, a ton of the paralegals at my office went to a clinic where they did get training on how to help people filling out those forms to get work authorization. So just keeping an ear out on those opportunities to be involved in your community and to, lend a hand locally.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I love that you bring up like bystander training and stuff too, because I was born here and that's something, that I personally have never had to worry about. But I often feel quite helpless, because you don't know what you can do. Again, I'm not a lawyer. You don't know what you can do to help people. But even I was just looking online, there are little cards you can print out that tell you what to say if they come in, just, I will not be speaking to somebody at this time. I know my rights, XYZ. Just if you can use the right language with them, that maybe that could, ease a situation. Also, if you're white, especially, but also if you're a citizen, if you can help out and be, that person who's dealing with that, I think that it's time to step up, I think. Having those resources at your workplace, if you work especially in a hospital or a school. I know right now in Massachusetts there's a lot of fear around ICE coming into people's workplaces, like in public places. So I think especially if you work somewhere like that, it would be good. Just have something like that printed out just to keep on standby and just to know, just in case, because you never do know. And like it's good. To know your rights, know the rights in general, and
staying alert and aware, I think is such a big and important thing right now.
And having something prepared too, so that if something scary happens, it's shitty to think about, but it's a real
necessary.
Practice it in the mirror so you don't panic.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
honestly,
go to those trainings. Talk to somebody who knows, who's familiar with that kind of thing. What's the saying? Preparedness.
Measure twice, cut once.
Exactly.
Bitch. That's what it is.
So, reach out to your local ACLU chapter, reach out to local, immigration, refugee nonprofits. They will often have those Know Your Rights cards. I think they're called red cards. And they're often available for free. They're often available to print out and cut out yourself. So education is your biggest the biggest thing you can do for yourself, just to prepare and just to know, to reduce that uncertainty.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you. I would have felt bad if we've, for the first time ever, had someone qualified here to speak on an issue and that I didn't speak, didn't ask you about it.
I think you did have me on for the proposal and I just ranted the whole time about how her work screwed her over because they should have been keeping an eye on that.
Yes, we did have lawyer corner because I remember because it was all about the green card marriage and you were like had some lawyer tips. Honestly, an entire lawyer debunking law movies podcast is like something that really could.
Oh, I'm sure take off. Yeah.
But as we slide into something a little less heavy,
stressful.
I guess. Little less stressful.
Certainly.
My lovely mother, Jen, is here. Oh my God, it's like a whole family freaking reunion. Jen's here to play Chocolate or Vanilla, her interim podcast segment game. She's gonna say two things. We're all gonna say which one we like better. And for, this is an audio medium, so you cannot see us unless you're watching on the Patreon. So the order in which we will answer, Jen will say the two things. Me, I'm Dara. I'll go first. Then Emily's going to go.
Yep.
Then Erin, our special guest. And then, of course,
Jen's going to round
segment host Jen. So Jen, to start it off, is there a theme this week?
So there is. I took this this cast, and you have to say it's going to be them or somebody very much like them.
Whoa, okay. Let's pit two queens against each other.
Yes, exactly. So chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
I'm going to go chocolate tonight.
Chocolate.
The chocolate sweep.
Woo!
Quadruple choc. Never heard of it.
And chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Strawberry.
Ooh, strawberry. So Daniel Craig or Henry Cavill?
Why are they similar? They're just action guys?
In my eyes, they are. James Bond or Superman, right?
All right.
Oh, definitely. Hands down, Daniel Craig.
Yeah, no question. Love that boy.
I like Henry Cavill too. I'm into that he, like the Witcher series. Not only is he like a big gamer himself, which I'm into that he's like doing projects that also align with his personal interests, but he like left the production when they started being shitty and really spoke up about it, which I think a lot of actors don't call out production in fear of not getting roles. And I like that he sort of called it out. And then they tried to replace him, and now I'm sure that show is just an entire flop. So shouts out to Henry Cavill, but he's got nothing on Daniel Craig.
Yeah, easily.
I like both, but probably Daniel Craig. I think I've just seen him in more stuff. I'm
going to go Henry Cavill because I would always pick Superman, I think. So me and Nana were watching Twisters last weekend. And
the new one or the old one?
The new one. And Twisters with an S, so it's the sequel.
Oh.
And the next up, Superman was in it. We were both pretty excited.
Oh yeah. David Cornsweet.
Yeah.
Yes,
he's good. I like him. I'm actually very excited for that one.
Right. I am not. I don't have a lot of faith in the current prospect of any superhero movie, just in general. Yeah. Like, not only are they usually bad, but they're also usually just not my jam. But I will be attending the Superman film.
Yeah, me too. And of course, in the Superman franchise, Supergirl, the series, is the best thing ever.
Jen constantly shouting out the CW superhero shows, I think is like the only mention they get on the internet in the past decade, probably.
No. I'll have you know that Sapphic Twitter loves the Supergirl show.
Jen and all the lesbians. Yes.
Next one is Chris Evans or RDJ.
Honestly, Robert Downey Jr. is pissing me the fuck off these days because who are you? Who are you to finally break free of those chains of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Go on to Oppenheimer and win your Oscar and get on your fucking high horse about, it's so refreshing to finally act in real films again. Okay, whatever. And now he's gonna be Dr. Doom. First of all, get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. I don't want to see it. Second of all, why? No. And also, that means you're a fucking phony and a fake.
He's an actor. Of course he's a phony and a fake.
You need more money, Robert? I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, no. At least I think Chris Evans is letting it lie, at least, which I do have to give him a little more respect for. So I'll go Chris on this one, even though I generally disdain him.
Yeah. Not my favorite of the Chris's, but
far from my favorite.
I like seeing him as a villain. I think it was fun to see him in Knives Out as kind of a dick versus Captain America.
Yeah, instead of the Boy Scout.
Mm-hmm. And he's from Sudbury, so I'm going to pick him.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. I will go with Chris Evans. Erin, I thought this one would be hard for you because You're a Captain versus Iron Man would be a tough call for you back in the day.
Maybe in hindsight it wouldn't be. Maybe at the time it would have been, but...
Yeah.
And you know what? Chris Evans double dipped. He was Johnny Storm, and then he was Captain America, and I didn't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Then I support the double dipping when it's right.
And then he was Johnny Storm again in Deadpool versus Wolverine.
I'm
sorry. Spoilers
Spoilers for a movie I will never watch.
I heard that was good, and we can't get it on streaming. So we have the Deadpool collection and the Wolverine collection, and neither one of them has Deadpool and Wolverine as an option.
Maybe it's just a sign that you should just let it go. Because there's no way that movie was good. I'm sorry.
Who's Johnny Storm in the coming up one?
My boyfriend who I love. He's going to be so bad, I bet. He's not even that good of an actor, honestly. And he's going to be George Harrison, too, in the Beatles biopics. It's going to be bad for me.
Every 10 years, you need a bad Fantastic Four movie. It's just for the ecosystem, you know?
Yeah, recession indicator.
Next one is Ana de Armas or Mila Kunis.
I'll pick Ana de Armas because... iconic during the pandemic when she moved out of Ben Affleck's house and he was seen throwing away the life-size cardboard cutout of her. Hilarious. There's this hilarious image of Ben Affleck like carrying an Ana de Armas cutout to the dumpster that lives in my mind rent-free. And I love anyone who stomps over Mr. Ben.
Yeah, I'm also not going to pick like a rapist apologist.
Yeah, Mila Kunis can fucking suck eggs and rot in hell.
Yeah, so I'm also going to pick Ana de Armas on that one.
I will also be picking Miss Marta Cabrera.
Is Marta Cabrera the name of the ballerina from John Wick?
No, that's her name in Knives Out.
Oh, yeah.
I also like John Wick, so if she was in John Wick, great.
So they're doing a John Wick production, like it's called Ballerina, and it's not John Wick, but it's John Wick adjacent. Yeah. And it looks amazing. So
it looks fine.
Or amazing.
She honestly never really impresses me. Like she's just sort of like, after the whole Marilyn Monroe debacle, I lost a lot of respect for her.
And that's fair, I think.
And I think she's a fine actress, and I almost feel like she only does a good job in this movie because, like, good writing and good direction, but I don't want to speak on that.
Next one is Jamie Lee Curtis or Meryl Streep.
Fuck Jamie Lee Curtis, and we love Meryl Streep.
Obviously, yeah, Meryl.
Who, by all accounts, isn't a Zionist as far as I know, so...
And she's queening out with Martin Short right now.
I was just gonna say, Martin Short, on-set romance that I can get behind.
An age-appropriate couple in Hollywood. Who'd have thunk?
Amazing. Dating somebody your age, what a concept.
Did they get together on Murders in the Building?
Yep.
Nice. I love that.
Allegedly, I think. Is it alleged or is it real?
Yeah. Oh, it's real. I think they've been
if we know about it.
Yeah.
So I will go with the Meryl Streep sweep. Next one, Toni Collette or Chelsea Handler?
Who's Chelsea Handler? What else is she? She's a comedian,
Chelsea
right?
Lately, yeah.
Toni Collette. I'm sorry, you keep saying two people, and then I pick one of them and I decimate their character, then leaving the other person as the only option. So sorry about that, but love Toni Collette. Actually, I want to watch that movie Mafia Mama.
Mafia Mama. That looks funny.
In.
That came out like a couple of years ago and it just flew under the radar, but I definitely have wanted to watch it for ages.
I love one of my favorite TikTokers, Huge as Mammoth, loves that movie, and it has like a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, and she constantly brings it up as like best film of all time, Mafia Mama. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Toni Collette on this one as well.
Probably Toni Collette. She was in that horror movie, right? Hereditary.
Yeah.
Okay, range.
I am your mother! That fucking face on your face! Yeah, snubbed for an Oscar.
That's for sure.
She was also Little Miss Sunshine, right?
Oh, fave.
And flex that me and Dara went to Mickey 17 last night. She was awesome in that.
Oh my
God, she was so good.
Jen and I both read the book in preparation for the film, and she was a character who was not in the book that they added in the film, which I often
always a toss-up.
I often don't think like adds much. There are only a handful of times I feel where I've read the book and saw the movie, and I felt like that paid off, and I really thought it did this time. Maybe just because it was Toni Collette, but
yeah. So I'll be going with Miss Toni Collette. Next one, Don Johnson or Antonio Banderas.
Oh, Antonio Banderas.
Hands down, no question. Next.
Pitting Melanie Griffith's two ex-husbands against each other.
Erin gets me.
Banderas. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Antonio Banderas too for his fine work as Puss in Boots in the Shrek
of course
franchise. Next one, Michael Shannon or Bill Hader?
Bill Hader. Yeah. I love Bill Hader.
Yeah,
I love Barry.
How can you not? Yeah, it's Bill.
Bill Hader. Yeah. SNL was my era of SNL was Bill Hader and all of those guys.
Iconic. I wish I had that era.
Is he still with Anna Kendrick?
I didn't know that.
I thought he was with Ali Wong.
Yeah, he is with Ali Wong.
Yeah.
That just struck the fear of God.
I didn't like that for a minute.
I will go with Bill Hader also. Even though Michael Shannon, like, he shows up when he's in when he's.
Oh yeah, he gets the job done.
Yes, exactly. Next one is Lakeith Stanfield or Daniel Kaluuya.
Daniel Kaluuya. I need to see that man on my TV screen again.
It's been too long.
Yeah, since Nope, has he been in anything?
Yes.
Yes, maybe. I just
wasn't
haven't
he like a Bonnie and Clyde kind of situation with
right. Yeah. That man needs a new agent because get him back.
That's
He's
true.
One of my Skins babies. I want nothing more than to see everyone who is involved in the productions of Skins to thrive.
Yeah. I'll pick Daniel for this.
Even though, both of them in Judas and the Black Messiah, fire film.
He was in the sequel to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. He was Hobie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Spider-Punk. He was Spider-Punk.
Oh, cool.
Take back that shit you said about his agent, Tara.
Yeah, true. Sorry, Mr. Kaluuya's agent.
We appreciate you. Voice
acting is acting.
Yeah. What about you, Erin?
Oh, I thought that was clear, Mr. David Kaluuya.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Same thing.
Word.
Next one is Christopher Plummer or Christopher Lee?
Christopher, because I'm thinking like Sound of Music, Lord of the Rings. Both iconic, but I'm going to pick...
in very different ways.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Christopher Plummer because just that, him ripping the Nazi flag in half, and he's also just like so fucking hot in that movie.
He's insanely hot.
That's make men masculine again, as in you need to be behaving like Christopher Plummer in The Sound of Music.
Yeah, that's for sure. Christopher Plummer. Yeah, for sure.
Love Christopher Lee though too.
Of course, how can you not? But yeah, Christopher Plummer, I feel like has a special place in my heart.
I'm going to pick Christopher Lee because I'm pretty sure he did actually stab Nazis.
Yes.
Like in his pre-acting career. He also made,
Erin did get us on that.
Didn't consider that. Nope. Yeah, I'm like, you should play a Nazi hater in a movie? No, you should be a Nazi hater in real life.
It's okay to punch Nazis.
Real.
He made a heavy metal album in his, I think, late 80s, early 90s.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Maybe I changed my answer. That's so cool.
I'm backpedaling.
Yeah, hold on.
I am also going to go with Christopher Lee because I feel like he holds the records for being in the most movies of any actor ever,
I think
right?
That is true.
Yeah, I believe that. But when you're 1,000 years old, like, that's kind of fair. When you're immortal, that's, like, not a flex anymore.
Me too, Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one
he lives on our heart.
Yes.
Ed Norton or Matt Damon?
Ew, Matt Damon is gross.
Yeah.
Ed Norton is like also nothing special though. Like to me, I don't know. But I guess I'll pick Ed Norton.
I'll go Ed. He's fine.
Oh, do you know what I was recently? I was just about to say held at gunpoint. That's not true. That's a wild exaggeration. I was I was presented with the Bourne movies. But I watched not only one, but two Bourne movies. And that's two more than I felt like I needed to see.
For you, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not Matt Damon then?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm going to go with Ed Norton too, but I do think he's actually a better actor than Matt Damon, but
yeah.
Ed Norton is okay, though. I'm trying to think of something that he's been in that I was like, damn, Ed Norton kind of killed that, because
he shows up for like 5 seconds in Kingdom of Heaven with Orlando Bloom. He plays King Baldwin. Steals the whole movie. Like 5 minutes scene, he steals the whole movie. Yeah.
See, because he's not usually a scene stealer. Mm-hmm. I felt like he wanted to be in the fucking Bob Dylan movie, and I was like, if this was supposed to be a Pete Seeger movie, then make a Pete Seeger movie, but stop.
I'm going to go Ed Norton also, but you know what? I regret not putting him against the guy who now I think looks just like him in Game of Thrones, Littlefinger.
Oh, sure. He's giving some Ed Norton energy.
Yeah, but I will pick Ed Norton. Next one. Janelle Monáe or Monet Exchange?
Oh my God. Janelle Monáe, although I do love Monet Exchange.
Yeah, it's Janelle every time.
Mm-hmm. Her Quincy Jones tribute.
I liked it.
At the Grammys, I was obsessed. Sorry, Erin, I cut you off.
No worries. I'm going to pick Janelle Monáe. I do feel like Monet Exchange would pick Janelle Monáe. So that's fair.
Ooh. Good point. And for that, I'm going to go with Monet Exchange. Next one is Leslie Odom Jr. or LMM.
I'll pick Leslie Odom Jr. because I did call him out earlier in this episode, specifically as the reason why you and I read Murder on the Orient Express in the year 2018. So thanks for getting literacy into my hands.
That might have been a reread for me. I probably read it in like 84 too.
I'll go Leslie on this just to not pick LMM.
Leslie, I mean, if anybody deserved the Tony for Hamilton, it was him. Room Where It Happened, Wait for It. I mean, come on.
That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful man, beautiful voice. Leslie Odom for me. Next one. Ethan Hawke versus Kevin Bacon versus James Franco.
Okay, you read my mind because I do shout out Kevin Bacon later as one of my casting picks for a Knives Out future. So I feel like I have to pick him out of principle.
Ethan Hawke. Yeah, I just think he's brilliant comparatively.
Have you seen First Reformed?
No, I really want to though.
It's like a tough heavy movie, but Ethan Hawke kills.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Kevin Bacon. No comment.
Fair enough.
Yeah, me too. If I'm going to shout out Christopher Lee for being in the most movies ever, I'm going to give a close second to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done Footloose on the pod?
Nope. Ooh. I've never even seen that movie.
Whoa.
I know about They Can't Dance and then they do it anyways.
Yeah, there you go. That's the whole thing.
I've seen, they parody that all the time, but I feel like there's a Victorious episode. So I feel like I saw that and I didn't feel the need to ever see the film.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Is the Victorious episode about it?
Yeah, I'm sure. Or like iCarly or something, you know.
Someone, yeah.
Last one. Dave Bautista versus Yuri Borisov.
Two baldies. I feel like I love Yuri Borisov from Anora. Breakout role of the Oscars season for me, but simply not enough material to compare. And Dave Bautista is probably the best like wrestler turned actor example. I feel like it's him and then it's John Cena and then it's whoever else has ever tried acting and then it's The Rock. Yeah.
Agreed.
The Rock is at the fucking bottom. The Rock should quit acting.
Dave Bautista really impressed me in The Last Showgirl, so I'm going to go Dave Bautista on this.
He was so good in that. Oh, really, and his hair. His hair in that.
Oh, I want to see that now.
It was actually a pretty sad movie and kind of slow.
Yeah, not my favorite, but I liked him.
But he was good.
He was really good. Yeah.
I will also go with Dave.
I will go with Dave too. That was it for this cast. Chocolate or vanilla?
Heck
Slay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. And can I end it by saying, if you could see anyone be in a future Knives Out movie, who would you want to see?
Oh, man. Give me a sec. Let me think.
Oh, gosh. I just thought of somebody.
You say it.
Martin Short and Meryl Streep as a couple.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly.
Ooh.
Like a toxic couple fighting in the IKEA showroom.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to go with my boy, Darren Criss.
Darren Criss.
In an ensemble? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Someone's got to act gay.
If there's a musical Knives Out, we do a murder mystery, but the whole thing's also a musical. That could be fun.
That would be fun.
You know who's good at musical episodes? The CW cast.
Oh my God.
And with that,
thank you, Jen, and we'll see you next week.
I love you guys. Have an awesome night.
Love you. Bye. But most importantly, Daniel Craig. Like, that's really what I'm here for this whole time.
Can we talk about Daniel Craig? Because, wow, I feel like this was his first, like, post-James Bond step into freedom, really. Like, he's not James Bond anymore. He's free.
His goofy side.
Yeah, hamming it up as well. Yeah, he said, light Southern accent, my ass. I'm not doing anything lightly.
What else have we gotten out of him?
I was going to say, recently, has he been... Because we're switching Bonds, as the Oscars made us very well aware that we're going to switch Bonds. It's Margaret Qualley, ? Or was she just there? I hope it's the first, but...
He's in The Force Awakens? What?
He's a stormtrooper, yeah. He's an uncredited stormtrooper.
Why is that like the first thing that comes up in his fucking...
IMDb, yeah.
Go with the Dragon. No, everything queer. He just did queer, obviously.
I still haven't seen that.
Yeah, not a whole... Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, he probably is in a place where he doesn't have to take jobs he doesn't, like...
Of course,
to do. Yeah. And I'm thrilled that he was in the sequel. He's living
his little gay life.
And that he's going to be in the third one. Like, I want an infinite amount of these movies because Rian Johnson, I don't know much about this man and I don't have a huge opinion because the new Star Wars movies, like the ones that came out in the 2010s or whatever, I saw them in the theaters and then they left my brain and I never thought about them again or had the desire to.
I don't have a reason.
Everyone was really mean to all the actors in it. Everyone was just like... awful. I don't know.
Actually, I do have one reason is that that meme of Adam Driver's big chest.
Yep. Yeah.
That's it.
Real.
That's it.
Real. And what is it? There's like some Raylo fan fiction that's being made into a movie. I'm
sure.
Raylo fan fiction is on your screen whether you know it or not, I think.
Yeah. But at the end of the day.
I had to sort of remind myself that what had happened was that J.J. Abrams made the first one. Rian Johnson made, well, not the first, but you know what I mean, in the newer Star Wars one. J.J. Abrams made the first one. Rian Johnson then did the next one. And then J.J. Abrams did the one after that. So Rian Johnson sort of like
came in and just...
this weird J.J. Abrams sandwich that doesn't
whiffed it.
Make a lot of sense, but also like the movie he made, also he just made a lot of choices that I don't know.
Yeah, he just wanted to, it felt very subverting expectations.
He killed Luke Skywalker. Like, Rian Johnson, who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah, really. That's a bit much.
All I really remember about that movie was the green milk. There was...
Oh, blue milk, yeah.
No, it was green.
No, it's blue milk.
Well, I know that there is blue milk, but this milk was green.
I don't think that's true. Hold on.
It was like he squeezes a weird udder and something green.
Luke Skywalker was milking some weird alien thing on his desert hobo island.
Yeah. Which is different from blue milk because no. I know what blue milk is, but look up Luke Skywalker private island. This is green. It's green.
No.
I don't know. Anyways, that's really all I remembered about that movie. But then I also saw that he directed...
Debate.
Debate. Is it the same?
Milk Debate again.
So the milk debate. It's green because it's different. Yeah, it's entirely...
Blue milk or green milk? Since the introduction of green milk in Star Wars The Last Jedi, fans have been wondering which is better. Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
Infamous green milk.
All right, fair enough.
I told you it was the only thing I remember.
You're right. All right, my apologies.
Because I remember what that udder looked like. Yeah, and that weird bottle that he
that big old titty.
I don't remember anything about the fights, about the context, about him dying even.
I remember the scar on Kylo Ren's face. That was hot.
Yeah, I do remember Adam Driver. Yeah,
of course. How could you not love him?
But what was I talking about? Oh, Rian Johnson. Yeah, and so I feel like that I sort of have mixed opinions, but kind of no opinions, I guess, because that's just sort of
like judge a director for something they did for a franchise versus like an original thing.
So real. And I feel like he wrote and directed this, and I thought it was great. And I felt like he had such an understanding of like that Agatha Christie whodunit. I love that he made it modern. While the political commentary might not be super nuanced, I really like that he made it like a modern thing, because if you're going to do this like cast of characters, it's always going to represent like a microcosm of society or whatever, because you're all blaming each other. So things like race and class are obviously going to be a part of it. And I think that's true in Agatha Christie books as well. So I think it just is so much cooler that he's like, let's interject it into today. And again, with Glass Onion, I didn't think that commentary was particularly, I don't know, nuanced or anything, but I liked that at least he was talking about it and making kind of a silly, fun movie, poking fun at that kind of stuff. Because I feel like
might as well just have some fucking fun with it.
And they'll end up being kind of interesting time capsules, I think, like representing, like this is very like late 2010s Trump. And then, of course, Glass Onion's like very much indicative of the pandemic. And so I'm interested to see what this next one will kind of be about. But I like that he didn't make them period pieces, because I think with a, Agatha Christie inspired whodunit, it's so easy to do something older.
Which is what they did with Murder on the Orient Express and fucking, what's the other one? Death on the Nile and all that.
Right, yeah, because those are just exact remakes.
Enough champagne to fill the Nile.
I don't know that one.
Do you know what the Gal Gadot?
Terrible line reading.
Fill the Nile.
Yikes.
You have no idea what I'm talking about?
I am understanding that you're doing an impression of how bad of an actress she is.
Oh, the impression is so bad that you don't know what I'm saying?
No. I know that you're being Gal Gadot because she's a bad actress.
Do you not even know?
But she says the line and it's bad, but I'm going to have to look this up. I'm going to have to watch the trailer.
Oh, wow.
But her in that stupid Snow White movie, I literally want to kick my TV.
Yeah, fuck that bitch. I hate her
away from Rachel Ziegler.
Yeah, honestly, that poor little girl.
Protect her at all costs.
Yeah,
I saw a great tweet that was like, I know in my heart Rachel Ziegler will be the first woman born in the 2000s to win an Oscar. And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Fair enough.
Because it's something like the only two women born in the 90s to win Oscars are Jennifer Lawrence and now Mikey Madison.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, God, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they'll keep rolling in.
More. I mean, that's really not that old. I was born in 1992, so it's surely there will be more.
Yeah, between the ages of now, like 20 and 32 or whatever. That's
25 and 35 it would be, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Melanie Linsky, though.
Speaking of Melanie Linsky, we were talking about Melanie Linsky. I think you just looked at my paper because it says Melanie Linsky. No,
because I feel like you just said What did I just play it back? Roll it back.
No, I didn't say Melanie, but I'd love to talk about her.
Did someone not just say Melanie? Am I actually tweaking right now?
I think I talked about Yellow Jackets 4 hours ago, and I was talking about how much I love Melanie Linsky.
I feel like
we were talking about Gal Gadot.
Oh my God,
you just got like blighted with like.
Oh my God, Jesus, where am I? Anyways, I'm just looking at my notes too. I wasn't even looking at your notes.
That's so hilarious because she's written down.
Well, she's on my list of who I want.
No, she's on mine too
for my next Knives Out.
Oh my God! So
should we get into?
I know. So not to jump on anything, but I fielded this question because we're getting the third movie, and as the casts come out and sort of like, well, I want to be the casting director.
Of course.
Like, I want to be in charge of who gets to be in the Rian Johnson Knives Out 4, 5, 6, because honestly, I think he found his bread and butter, and I don't think he should ever do anything else. Mm-hmm. I think he should keep writing these movies until either he or Daniel Craig dies. Honestly, like
one or the other.
If that's his entire career, and he can make music videos for LCD Sound System.
Yep.
Because I was trying to get into what this man had done, and I was in a bit of a Reddit hole, and everyone was like, "You have like one of his best things, arguably, is this music video," and I was like, "Huh?" And we watched it,
and it was correct.
It was really good.
Yeah,
It was like Sissy Spacek and somebody else famous. And it was beautiful. I'll link it in the description.
Would highly recommend.
Below. Not going to talk about it too much because I hate to spoil a music video, weirdly. But also LCD Sound System is mad cool. So I was like, let me check that out. Yeah. So I guess points for Ryan in that regard. But these past two Knives Out have got me feeling like he found his niche. And hopefully, I'm like,
I want continue to explore.
I want, 4, 5, 6. But on that note, if your ideal cast, right, you get to round up like 6 to 12 really good actors to just do, a vague social commentary, whodunit, whatever. Who are you going to cast? So Emily, I guess we both have Melanie Lynskey because...
yeah, I've got a cast of lesbians mostly. Not lesbians, but women.
Yeah, it would be funny to do if they were all around the same age, to do like a lesbian.
I think honestly most of them are pretty.
What would the setting be then? Like, where are all these lesbians doing crime together?
Let me show you the general age range, and then I'll get into the couple of men that I have.
Okay, the couple.
Yeah.
For $1, name a man.
Yeah, right.
Other than Daniel Craig.
Anne Hathaway.
Right. Okay.
Sandra Oh.
Well, yeah.
Sandra Huller.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I literally had the dog from Anatomy of a Fall on mine. Messy. I had the dog.
That's
we're
iconic.
on the same wavelength today. I think.
Allison Janney.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are all going to be older lesbians,
and then Melanie Lynskey, of course. Yeah. But I also have Elle Fanning and Io Adebri.
Mm-hmm.
How do you say her last name? Adebri. Okay. But Elle Fanning and Io as well.
I once butchered it so bad on this podcast. I said Itabiri, and I'm like, I should go back and scrub that from the internet. And I just said it again now. Yeah. I think it's because I had only ever seen it spelt and not spoken.
Yeah.
Because I was like, up and coming star, Io Itabiri. I'm like, oh my god.
So
I'm so sorry, Io. I've learned and I've grown.
Since they didn't win the Oscar, I'm gonna give them runner-up trophies, and I'm gonna cast Ralph Fiennes and Coleman Domingo in this as well, alongside Woody Harrelson.
Ooh.
And that's my 10.
Ooh, I want them to be like the beard husbands of the lesbians who do the crime.
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing here.
I wrote down Stanley Tucci if we're gonna have Ralph Fiennes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so, what's your list, Erin?
Oh, so far it's just Stanley Tucci and Rachel Weisz.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
would be fun. That would be fire to pull her in as the criminal too. That would be cool. I know, I did kind of spring that question on you because it's always so hard. I feel like it's like name an actor and my mind goes blank. But then it's like, I'm like Rolodexing through them in the shower for no reason.
Yeah.
My list was kind of big, but a Muppet of some sort. Or
I also wrote down entire Muppet cast except for maybe Daniel Craig.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I definitely saw a tweet once that was like Knives Out but make it Muppets, which would be fire. And then I just saw Mickey 17, cannot rave enough. Go see it. And honestly, Toni Collette, so great. Put her in it again.
Yeah.
She's back. She's back.
I'd like that.
Make up a new character for Toni Collette because I love her in this, and she was great in Mickey 17 too. But I want to shout out Naomi Ackie, who I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I hadn't really seen her in anything, but I guess she was Whitney Houston in the Whitney Houston biopic, which I didn't see because I'm sort of like staunchly against biopics.
Yeah.
But I'm like, damn, maybe I'll have to check it out because her performance in Mickey 17 is like skyrocketing her to like one of the best performances I've seen in a long fucking time. Like, she was so fucking cool. And then, what else? We were just talking about Ariana Grande and Sabrina Carpenter, both sort of like doing that slapstick physical comedy sort of thing, which I think could really like lean into a Knives Out sort of funny thing. Oh, Keke Palmer, obviously. Melanie Lynskey, yup. Oh, and then I was like trying to challenge myself to think of a man, but then I just wrote Olivia Colman twice. I love Olivia Colman. Oh, Kevin Bacon is another one. I thought he was so funny in Maxine.
I loved him in Maxine.
I didn't realize how fucking funny Kevin Bacon was, that I thought he could be really funny.
He gagged me in that, honestly.
And Zac Efron.
Why not?
Because why not? Or Zac Efron's younger brother, who was just on The Traitors. Ooh, and get Bob the drag queen in there too. Okay, now you
got it. Yeah,
but I feel like it would also be funny if he did like, if he wants to do some sort of commentary, if he did like only Nepo Babies cast, like get freaking Jack Quaid, Maya Hawke, like only Nepo Babies.
That'd be fun. And Ben Platt.
Yeah, like like really like ones who are just known for being Nepo Babies. Like that would be hilarious. hilarious.
Well, what's her name? She's on SNL these days. Jane Wicklund. It's just come out that she's Nepo Baby material.
No, I didn't know that.
Pretty big Nepo Baby material.
Damn.
Yeah.
Self-made, though. Self-made with $1 million loan.
And I'm like, at least that one is funny, but I would also put her in a Knives Out. That I could see that being hysterical.
Or, like, only actors over, like, 80, too. Like Murder at the Senior Center or something. Could be.
Oh, my God. So, like,
oh, my God. Before
Mirren,
Judy's gone.
Judi Dench, Ian McKellen.
Yeah, all the ones who were like, before they go.
Yeah,
right?
really.
Like,
we already lost Maggie. Come on.
Get
Clock's ticking.
Get one good one in there.
Yeah.
Get one last whodunit in. Why don't you?
Of course.
And then, do we want to play Fuck, Marry, Kill? Who are like, is like maybe Benoit Blanc, Ana de Armas, what's her name? Marta Cabrera.
And then Chris Evans.
Chris Evans? Yeah, I guess so. And Chris Evans is so despicable in this. Gotta
Obviously,
kill him.
we're killing him.
Even though he looks fine, that sweater, I want to steal it.
Yeah.
Even though it's got little holes in it, which is supposed to say something about his character.
He doesn't take care of things. He doesn't take care of his things.
Yeah, but I think the obvious answer is I'm marrying Benoit Blanc and I'm fucking Marta.
Yeah.
I'm calling it a day. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Let her relax after a long day.
Right. But I'm really thinking, as if it's opening up to everyone, who do I want to kill the most?
Michael Shannon.
Really? You think he's the worst of them all?
I think so.
I feel like Don Johnson's kind of the worst.
Either of the two. Yeah.
Or honestly, I kind of just want to kill Jamie Lee Curtis because I liked her for a long time. It turns out she's fucking a Zionist, and it makes me
she's
upset because I thought you were cool, Jamie, and it turns out you suck.
Yeah, Jamie really sucks.
What a bummer.
Yeah,
take and give your Oscar back. Come on, you didn't fucking earn that.
That shit was a hack.
Give that to Stephanie Hsu.
Yeah, really.
Be the bigger person honestly. And admit that you don't deserve that.
Yeah, truly.
Anyways,
Michael Shannon's the one I'm killing.
Or they keep like calling the child a Nazi child, and I'm like, let's kill him before he can vote. You know?
True.
But I wonder if like the handling of like dismissing young alt-right men at that age and now they can vote has something to do with where we're at now.
Oh,
like,
certainly.
You know, we're like, the Nazi jerking off in the corner, ha ha ha, and now they're all in charge.
Yeah, the Nazi assaulting women.
Oh because I'm like, that kid can vote now. So
for sure. Yeah, but you're having a get together,
a little guest together.
You're having a little gathering with your your
ensemble cast. Your ensemble cast.
Your ensemble cast. What are you eating and drinking?
Well, first off, it has to be a murder mystery party, right?
Obviously,
I feel like you got to give everyone something. Characters in the mail before time.
You at least have to play werewolf.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to show. No, I think you definitely have to show up as a character.
You need an outfit. You need a theme.
The only mystery party I ever have been to in my life, and I'd love to go to another one, because I feel like that's something I could really get into with the right group of people who are all also into it, right? Like, let's just like be silly. The only time I ever did it, I was a small child, but it was American Girl doll theme. Oh. And I remember American Girl sold these party packs. So you could pick like, Samantha or whatever. Sure. And then it was all of like the characters from the books and stuff. And like from that time period. So I think the party I went to, I believe, was like Samantha themed, which was about the Industrial Revolution. So it wasn't as cool. But I remember the birthday invitation was like, you're one of the child laborers. And here are the facts that you know.
You're in the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire or whatever.
Exactly. And of course the birthday girl gets to be Samantha. But it was like it wasn't a murder mystery, but I remember it was like a wholesome, child's unsolved thing. But American Girl. Out the puzzle. Yeah, I feel like
classic.
Hey, parents out there, set up more murder mystery parties for your kids.
Hell yeah.
Maybe get them off those damn phones. Well, actually, just Among Us is sort of just modern day murder mystery.
I miss playing that, honestly. That shit was gas for about 7 months.
I think you tried to teach me how to play it once, and I said, what am I supposed to do if I'm the guy? Or I said, I'm the imposter, where do I go? And you were like, Dara, you don't say that. Don't tell everyone. But I was like, it was the first time I ever played.
Yeah, and that's fair, and that's so fair.
But I also don't understand the whole, like, trying to act like you know where you're going. I don't know. Yeah. I don't really know. But yeah, what are you gonna eat and drink?
I'm spatchcocking a chicken, roasting some root vegetables, and having a fat glass of Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, with this movie, that definitely
felt really right.
That's what they would have, I feel like.
Exactly. Which I want to, if I'm watching this, I want to feel like I'm a part of the house.
Right.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
And I feel like you have to use like a comically large kitchen knife.
Yes, yeah, with like the actual like cutting. Right. Yeah.
What about you, Erin?
Definitely a wine. Definitely a glass of wine. I'm trying to think, what did Marta eat at that restaurant with Ransom? And he's like, you can't lie to me right now. You just ate that whole plate of whatever.
Baked beans and toast. I think they were trying to get a little Massachusetts with it because they really did nail the interior of that diner. Because I was like, I've been there 1,000 times.
Yeah, for real.
There were some things about this movie that I was like, oh, they got the Massachusetts of that. Like even like the house that looks like a house you would drive in like a rich neighborhood in Mass, like the wealthy parts. Like I totally got that. But then there were other parts I was like, oh, come on, these people are not from Massachusetts.
Not from here.
Yeah.
But the diner and her eating the beans, I was like, I see what they're going for there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Yeah, a big fat plate of baked beans while you watch this movie. I don't know about that.
Maybe not. Maybe it's too on theme with the. Well, yeah.
The presence of vomit in a film is
that's for sure. Yeah,
certainly not like appetizing. But I felt like the mine was like a little too obvious that they kept using the donut metaphor and that he was like searching for the donut hole inside the donut hole. So I feel like you just have to get donuts, but you also have to get donut holes, and you have to put the little.
If you want to get real Massachusetts with it,
I was going to say, Dunkin' Donuts.
Apple cider donuts.
Apple cider donuts.
Yeah. That
especially for this movie.
Go somewhere local and get apple cider donuts, but you could also just go to Dunkies and you could get a 12-pack, but then also get munchkins because you got to put the donut hole in the hole.
Of course. So you got to make a hole in the donut hole.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to.
But also mixing and matching that sounds fun.
And I feel like coffee is so central to this movie as well because we start with her bringing him the cup, then we end with her holding the cup. So if you could have your little donut and coffee while you watch the movie and be like, I own the house.
That's like how I started my watch of this. It was like rainy like morning, coffee in hand.
That's nice.
You know, yeah, it was really good.
Something with
which
breakfast.
is just perfect for this film.
And then what are you going to follow it up with other than Glass Onion, obviously? But I'm not really, after I finish this one, I'm not really in the mood to jump right into the sequel, if I'm being frank.
I want to jump into Clue. I want to go back to camp. Yeah. I mean, it's all camp, obviously, but I want to keep it, I want to keep this chugging along. Yeah.
What about you?
This was actually a follow-up movie for me. I watched this movie after Conclave.
Nice.
So I feel like this was my wind down movie after watching the intense, political drama.
No, I can sort of see that though, because Conclave is also like a bunch of people like gossiping around trying to solve a problem, as is this movie.
Yeah.
So I definitely and also Conclave ensemble cast as fuck.
Of course. Yeah.
And then what did I say? Oh, I said you kind of get serious after it and you watch Seven, which is like an actual like gruesome whodunit.
Yeah.
And we were watching a little fun fact video before this, and it turns out that Rian Johnson's initial like vision for Harlan Thrombey was Kevin Spacey, but then obviously couldn't cast him because but when he was writing it, that's who he had in mind as being like the patriarch.
Yeah.
So
okay, that's crazy because in the movie All the Money in the World, when they fired Kevin Spacey, they replaced him with Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, maybe Christopher Plummer just like had Kevin Spacey's agent and like online and was like, hey, he's like, we fit the same demo, low-key. Yeah. You want to give me those roles?
Yeah. Hey, you want to link up?
He's like, hey, I haven't raped anyone. Can I get those?
Can we maximize our joint slay?
Can I get those leftovers? Can I reheat those nachos? No, just kidding. That's not what that means. But but yeah, I think you should watch Seven because I haven't watched that movie in a long time. But that was one of my favorite like whodunits and like a total, didn't know the twist until it was twisting.
Yeah, of course.
Which this movie, I also feel like is written so well that the plot twists are like so cathartic that you like can giddily rewatch this film to pick out the little like, ooh, and now I get to spot the little foreshadowing bits. The baseball getting thrown out onto the lawn and the dogs not liking it. And just, the very little details that Rian Johnson so effortlessly peppers into the movie. I feel like my rewatches of both the Glass Onions, I feel like I've enjoyed more than the first one even. Because it's like, ooh, the twist, but now you're like, ooh, and I know the twist and I can see it all coming now, which is like, I don't know, the joy of film.
Of course.
And then what would you rate this movie out of 10? I'm going to give it like a solid 7.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah, I would give it like an 8 or a 9. I just thoroughly enjoy this movie. I enjoyed watching it. Probably the 4th or 5th time was the number of times I've watched it at this point.
Yeah, right. And for a movie that came out like not 6 years ago, that's like pretty good. That's like a, once a year rewatch is pretty good for a movie. And I'm thoroughly excited about the next one. Exactly. And like I said, I just think he should keep making them, honestly. And Erin, thank you for being here. And not only imparting some lawyerly knowledge, but also some movie review skills. And I think that's it for us this week. Don't mix up your meds, I guess, is the takeaway of this film. Thank you for listening, and have a lovely rest of...
Wait 5 minutes. Like,
wait.
Have a little patience.
If you think you're gonna die, actually, that's the lesson of this film. If you think you're gonna die, give it 5.
Yeah.
And then check back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because usually, like, something will have changed.
I think that's some real sound advice.
Call the ambulance. By the time the ambulance gets there, you're going to realize you're fine.
Yeah.
Like, he could have been fine.
And who are we casting as the EMTs? Ariana Grande and Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes, absolutely.